Hollywood, and the explanation you don't have the foggiest idea about these accounts is there's nobody to recount to you these accounts. You must do things that the majority of us will go, you don't do that. Now you do, you say, natural product. All I got to do is continue to be Steve Harvey. He been for north of 20 years. Katt Williams is referred to for his remarkable ability as a jokester, yet as of late he has been at the center of attention as an informant in the Broadway, evidently. Katt has a ton of tea on his kindred partners. And this opportunity he approached denouncing one of the most impressive figure of the business humorist, Steve Harvey. And as Feline says, each Harvey's accomplishment is an after effect of him offering his spirit to Hollywood. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Celeb Live Station. Well, it's anything but a mysterious that Katt Williams and Steve Harvey don't actually get along in their hamburger, followed back to December 2008 anyway. It appears as though Katt is presently prepared to tell the world how everything worked out for the two of them, and why Steve in the end became showbiz royalty, while individuals such as himself were repudiated and marked insane. We should not hear your befuddling story. How about we hear that we should hear reality, and watch how fresh and clean it is. And Katt Williams is drained to see the phony gifts like Steve Harvey being delegated as lords of satire. So I made an enormous move toward uncovering the obscure side of the stage, and how individuals get everything by selling their spirits, and doing the things that are fringe dreadful for distinction and abundance. You won't generally care for what it is that they need. And that yet that doesn't, you know, and no big surprise, Feline, came after one of the most unmistakable figures in stand-up in light of the fact that in the past, he previously attempted to uncover Harvey for his absence of ability first. It was something like a test when Katt tended to Steve saying, yet the second that you get in front of an audience, I really want you to comprehend that that is your last time as the ruler of parody. Water looks for its own level. You can't stop at Playboy. What will be will be, so I trust you're prepared. Got a group of journalists, you will require around 6 or 7 of them. And in answer, Steve Harvey said that he wouldn't discuss no names like Katt Williams. And it seems like since that answer, Feline has been subtly distraught at Steve for ascending to popularity and brilliance in a not so legitimate manner, so he chose to share the unforgiving truth about Steve and tell the world how genuine abilities who would rather not observe the brutal business guidelines get less exposure than the individuals who anxious to do anything for cash. In 20 years, I've never been on a business tryout in my life. Like I never let my visit get supported when I was bankrupt, or presently like it's anything but a sea mystery. Nowadays that exposure is a vital aspect for getting a greater fan base. And as Feline Williams says, he needed to become wildly successful in a fair manner, yet unfortunately, the very best situations in the stage are saved for individuals like Steve Harvey, who pick selling their spirit over difficult function. Admirably, Steve Harvey's not the most wonderful persona in Hollywood. And all of you recollect how horrendously this man treats his own staff. This stunning letter just showed that it is so difficult to be in Steve Harvey's presence. And obviously, he didn't actually need his group around, in light of the fact that he straightforwardly advised everybody to avoid him, and not to upset the Lord of Satire, preparing for his new show. The piece of that reminder read, "Don't come to my changing area. Except if welcomed, don't move toward me while I'm in the cosmetic seat. Except if I request to talk with you straightforwardly, don't dislike the better approach for carrying on with work. It is to bring about some benefit for my own life and delight." As Harvey made sense of, he simply needed a digit of tranquility on set. And what is by all accounts generally surprising for Katt in a story is the way that numerous individual superstars upheld Steve, and surprisingly said it was absolutely commonplace to give a notice like this, yet that notice that you put out to your staff at the old show advising everybody to let you be. I simply believe that you should realize that I, as Williams say, when you are offering your spirit to Hollywood, you can fundamentally pull off anything. and do anything you desire without being rebuffed, and evidently Steve Harvey was particularly partaking in his place of a strong and persuasive individual, in light of the fact that from that second on he started considering himself profoundly, and surprisingly, acting discordously towards his associates, and to be specific, Katt Williams too, when Steve openly said he doesn't consider Feline's perspective significant. In light of the fact that he's nobody, I comprehend that I didn't have the foggiest idea who he was the point at which I was on the radio in you realize he wasn't in no motion pictures or anything. And you realize the sibling was simply not so known. And it appears to Katt Williams that Steve previously got in his diva temperament on the grounds that the more achievement and abundance, he procured the most horrendously terrible individual he was becoming, and keeping in mind that it was remarkably difficult to become famous by not offering your spirit and body to the business elite individuals like Steve were playing with their recently obtained abundance like it was a toy, and disregarding his commitments like when he was sued for not paying for personal luxury plane redesigns, as it was informed Harvey needed to make changes to a personal luxury plane and add additional seating custom, inside plan, and seat plan modifications vehicle, just paid portion of the charge for the progressions to the airplane, prior to expressing that he never again was keen on flying on the stream. And after that, Steve truly asks why nobody likes him, except for it resembled like I was this horrendous individual. I'm actually a decent person, yet I'm a particularly pleasant person. Individuals make the most of it, as Katt Williams says. These individuals who decide to offer their spirits to the business begin to accept that they are unapproachable, and there never would be ramifications for their activities anyway. Many fans concur with the comic, and it's more than clear that the Broadway is spoiled to its center with jumpers like Steve. As one individual remarked, it flabbergasts me how the VIPs behave like there are not results to their decisions. And another client added, Feline doesn't gloss over he ain't a sellout like most of these performers. That is the reason he will be for all time a legend in my book. And assuming that you feel that Katt Williams is just frantic at Steve due to their hamburger, we should recall the number of others. Mr. Harvey, the renowned relationship master and father of many children. That while Steve isn't the individual who most of individuals think he is, and has been hitched multiple times, how is it that he could compose a book on relationship? Might he at any point be a master? In 2011, Steve's standing and picture were seriously discolored when his quarrel with his ex Mary became public. Mary shared a ton of beforehand obscure data about her ex Steve on her YouTube station. She utilized her record to charge that the comic had various illicit relationships during their marriage, incorporating with his faux spouse Marjorie Harvey. And with the influence he's in 60 business sectors he's written these books, you realize he's socially associated with the projects in Disney. And this large number of types, as Katt Williams naturally suspects it's insane that Steve figured out how to get a place of a relationship master, while his very own life has forever been a finished wreck. And the dramatization with supposed cheating is only the start, in light of the fact that later other terrible mysteries surfaced when Mary Harvey attempted to approach and uncover Steve as a terrible parent who was abusing his own child Winton. And regardless of